Hello, everybody, and welcome to Electric City Sentai Denzicaster, your somewhat regularly scheduled podcast about the wonderful world of Tokusatsu. That was not funny when you did it the first time. This is your host, Mike. We're joined by America's favorite black man.
I'm Chris.
And...
Hi, I'm David, and I'm still confused.
So this is take 2. We're giving this another shot.
Because, doing 2 takes in the first episode was so amazing, let's do it again.
Well, folks, we were talking about episodes 35 and 6. See, if we do this 2 takes, I'll remember the numbers.
See? I'm telling you, rehearsals help!
So we're talking about episodes 35 and 36 of Kamen Rider Drive. And we, of course, have the return of our penguin, Chris Brown. So...
if it wasn't for the fact that he named himself all these things, I would be a little aghast.
The penguin, he didn't name himself.
Okay.
That was Richard Morrow.
Was that Richard Morrow or was that Brian K?
A little of both, really. Because Richard's the one who started the whole thing with the whole penguin bit, and then Cape kind of took it from there. So...
And we will never let it die.
Nope.
Did I splash you?
No.
Something else. So... On these 2 episodes of Kamen Rider Drive, what we have done is we have now seen 2 episodes that basically revolve around solving the mystery and closing the book on who killed Drive's daddy. And we have already found out the last couple episodes that it was Chief Nera. So we know who did it. These 2 episodes revolve around him trying to get away with it. So in these 2 episodes, the episode 35 is basically all set up. It's essentially a 30-minute flashback, where we see how he's going to apparently lay siege to the Special Cases Division and how they are going to try to frame the Kamen Riders for all the crap the Roid Mudes are doing and frame the Special Cases Division at the same time. Whereas episode 36 is the payoff to all of that. And where we see our heroes spring into action and realistically, for the first time, in the entire series, have all 3 Kamen Riders actually come together and function as one team of heroes, which they have yet to do the entire series. So, you were kind of going over, before we started recording this session, sort of the whole plot threads of these couple episodes, or at least your outlook on them. But
I mean, we start off the standoff between Nera and... I forget. Shinosuke, thank you. And
I remember the name.
And we get like 1 or 2 lines, and it's like 20 hours back.
Police trope happens.
Yeah, it was like a typical thing you see in any police story or detective story. You get this amazing backstory before we ever get to the real climax of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But with the whole framing of the Kamen Riders, I was talking to you about that because I was like, is that the typical thing or more of like, so we've seen it in the last at least couple Kamen Riders now.
It's become a sort of a tropish storyline in Kamen Rider that eventually they're going to try to frame the good guys. Or sometimes they don't even have to try, it just happens. Because one consistent thing about Kamen Rider, and I had this discussion with Ryan McAllister earlier, is the Kamen Rider powers typically come from the same source as the bad guys. So in a lot of ways, they're not that distinguishable. In fact, the original concept of Kamen Rider was that he's no different than the monsters he fights, at least physically and power-wise. It's all a matter of what he chooses to do with those powers. So it's not at all unusual for Kamen Rider at some point during each show to be perceived and seen as the villain.
Hey, in that latest Superman movie, Superman and General Zod.
Yeah.
If I lived in Metropolis, they'd both be monsters.
Oh, sure. Bruce Wayne thinks so, too. So.
Yes.
Well, for once, I agree with Batman.
So.
But, I mean, going somewhat piece by piece, I mean, we watch Nera, who at this point is, after we're now hitting the flashback, maybe 6 hours in or so, we watch Nera come in his monster form being fused with Brain, am I correct?
Yep.
And comes in kind of nonchalant, does a little bit of battling, and sets up the master plan by implanting poison into I forget the girl's name. It was kind of quick.
It's essentially the only eyewitness
Eyewitness to the whole
right.
fight in general.
To the bank robbery 12 years ago where Shinosuke's dad dies. This is the little girl he died to save.
And which at this point, Nira at this point is pretty much setting up somewhat of a same scenario that his dad Shinosuke's dad went through. Where are you going to protect the girl to, for the greater good for her, or are you just gonna?
Yeah, are you gonna let me kill you, or are you gonna let the girl die? Is basically the scenario he sets up.
And so now we got.
Are you scratching your leg?
Yes. I'm about to say what?
Well, in the.
I can see it. I can see it.
It don't look flattering on camera.
No, not at all.
Just saying.
Yeah, shut up. Anyways, I was like, sorry, my leg itches. I'm sorry. Anyways,
welcome to Denzicaster, your somewhat regularly scheduled podcast about Chris Brown scratching his bum.
You're somewhat regularly professional? No, just kidding.
Anyway, so
this is your heel turn. This is when you become Lex Luger. Or Luger.
No.
Luger.
No, I'm saying Lex Luger. He has talent.
Oh.
No, I'm giving him credit. Not giving Lex Luger any credit. Anyway,
I'm at Luther.
Fans of the announcer's booth will get that joke.
Yeah. So after Nero decides to have his little press conference, cops show up at the special.
The DMV.
Yeah,
the DMV.
They show up, getting ready to arrest the group, and Kamen Rider gets away through distraction and whatnot, and so we skip ahead 12 hours that he's running away pretty much from the cops.
Well, he gets away because the other special units people grabbed a hold of the police officers and kind of interfered.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they run interference for him, at which point he goes on the lam. And so we get to see Drive basically on the run. And
for 3 minutes.
Yeah, for about 3 minutes.
Which equates to 12 hours in the show. And so...
Well, commercial break is enough to get you from, the basement of a building to the roof.
That's right. For the fight scene.
Yeah.
So,
we can poison people, but we can't mess up the pottery. Let's go outside.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, exactly. So, once we're now at the... so now I'm trying to remember. Because you probably remember.
Do you know why you can't?
Why?
Because these were painful episodes. I'm sitting here waiting just to go, they saw it.
I guess if you want to say overall, the episodes really weren't all that great. But,
let's hit some highlights.
Yeah.
So, key things out of this episode plot-wise.
Highlights?
Yeah, highlights.
The three work together.
Well, that's one.
Yes.
I mean, the actual key part, we finally resolved the daddy issues.
Yes.
Except at the end, evil laughter as I get carted off.
Yeah, Nira gets arrested because it is a cop show, and that's what Drive does. He arrests people. But yeah, he does do the whole mwahahaha and so on.
But yeah, who's going to laugh in the end?
But I would say, they do finally resolve that plot thread, it seems.
Yes.
Okay, we do finally see the three riders work together. We do see, and to me it's the most interesting thing we did get out of this, is we start to see basically what has been sort of undercover hostility between Brain and Medic just go all out. Brain, actually, we just saw it on screen a minute ago. Brain actually ends up in a fight with Medic, beats her. And at the end of the episodes, when Brain is reduced to his core number form, we see Medic show up and take great joy in torturing him.
As Brandon's like, whoa, we're so cool, right? I was just kidding about all that, like, oh God. But
I guess the other key part is we see an aspect of the power of the data pad. Professor Bonham.
Yes.
Yeah, that was kind of a huge thing. I was like,
because he dematerialized the teenager and rematerialized her without the poison.
Yes. And so we see that what level of control Bono actually has over the Roid-Mewed components, in this case the poison.
And we saw Joe's favorite shift car save the day.
Dimension Cap?
Dimension Cap.
Yeah, my favorite shift
Or
card.
was it you who doesn't like it?
No, I despise that shift card.
Really?
But yes. Well, I don't like it when Drive in type speed actually uses his power to split in half.
You remember how his tire comes across his chest? Well, in the one episode, he comes apart. And so, like, the body's over here throwing punches, and then over here, like, one arm and his head's over here throwing punches. Yeah.
That is kind of weird.
It's goofy looking.
Yeah, that's weird.
This, I was fine with it, because it actually made sense.
Well, I mean, the fact that towards the end of the episode where he finally realizes, oh, everything's okay, I can fight back. All right, let's do this. I'm like, awesome. But, I mean, the teleportation of the bullet, which was kind of huge for his comeback when they, when the bad guys are trying to...
Because they got the bad guys to tell on themselves.
I do like the payoff. And the episode 35 was a train wreck. It was hard to watch.
It really was.
I actually dozed off sitting over there watching it for this. I've seen it a couple times before. So, I mean, the setup to the payoff, that was hard. I mean, it was like watching WrestleMania 3 and not getting the Steamboat Savage match in the middle to make it all better. Again, Dave won't get that joke, but...
I know what you're talking about. I just don't care.
Well, that's fair. But it's called cross-promotion. We want people to watch the announcers booth, too. And then somewhere we'll work a gaming joke in here so people will watch Rage Quit Radio. I'm really just trying to say the names of all the shows. So, you've got that, and then you've got the big press conference at the end, which that nice big payoff. That was really nice. I liked that, where we're going to beat the bad guys, but we're going to beat them because we're just going to outsmart them.
Pretty much.
Especially when one of them's name is Brain.
He is slowly but surely becoming the worst named villain on this show.
I don't know. Heart is pretty up there, too.
Well, yes, but at least we actually see him live up to the name, whereas Brain is dumb as a brick.
I'm waiting for, Left Foot to show up to really bring this team together.
So... anything we liked out of these couple episodes?
Other than the end?
Other than the end.
And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean the end where the payoff and all that.
Nope.
Honestly, no.
Okay.
I mean, I guess if there's one good thing, it's, like you said before, just watching the writers finally go, I don't like you, but hey, let's get her done. I like that part of it.
My biggest problem was when Captain Creepy Pants was on the screen most of the time, it was for 3 minutes of annoyance and you moved on. No, these 2 whole episodes was full throttle Creepy Pants and...
all that high-pitched laugh.
And the face manipulation and just... I get it, it's Japanese jokes. To me, it's just so dumb.
Yeah, the high point of this to me, y'all already hit both of them. I like the teamwork. There's 2.
If Nira never shows up, these are the best damn shows ever.
If it actually is the resolution of his storyline, yes. So, we'll get the negativity flowing, Dave.
But I did wonder, with you guys saying Nira over and over, do you think maybe his name was play on Nero, Emperor Nero?
I was thinking more like the villain from the first Star Trek movie that wasn't that good, but sure.
No, I didn't mean him.
I mean, I like the first Star Trek movie, but Eric Bana left a lot to be desired. I was going to go with that, but sure.
I didn't mind it one way or the other.
But no, seriously, no. I wonder that myself, and if it is, a little bit of play on that, somewhat historically villainous character. I don't know.
Who's also kind of known to be a whack job.
Yes. But what did we hate about these 2?
Nero. All of it. I mean, I could have dealt with the police trope. That didn't bother me. What else could have even remotely been considered a negative that didn't involve Nero directly? Oh, the shift cars and the belt formed together to form a tiny little robot that was kind of creepy as hell.
I remember that now.
They did form the world's smallest Megazord.
It's like the belt's been floating and flying every other time, but apparently when the cops are looking for the belt, he's got to walk incognito. And remember, the 2 cars drove underneath and driving him along like a pelican. Nope, can't do that either. Got a robot walk.
And to make that point, guys, it's fixing to come up right now.
Actually, here it is.
It is.
I hope you can see this.
So you slide over there a little bit, Chris.
Oh, it's worth waiting a moment or 3.
There it is. There it is.
with his scorpion seatbelt tail. I mean, that's the thing of nightmares.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. That was... And you know the sad thing is, I bet you the toy doesn't do that.
Oh, of course not.
So... unless there's going to be a special edition toy that does.
Or a little, like, rubbery figure that's already built, put together.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about Voltron, and I remember as a kid, you could buy Voltron already as a robot.
Yeah, that wouldn't separate.
Right.
You could buy the one with the lines that pulled apart. Anywho, Chris, what did you not care for in these couple episodes?
I don't know. The backstory could at least would have been a lot faster. I mean, to be honest, and I don't think it needed a whole episode for us to figure out what happened. For 20 hours,
Especially
at
since
this point,
it's been like a focal point of the last 8 episodes, somewhere in
yeah. I didn't think it needed a whole episode for a whole backstory for that. That was the one thing I didn't like. And Nira only bugged me slightly because there was I understand the evil maniacal laugh occasionally, but he was constantly doing it. And I was like, why? We get it.
He is the epitome of that anime tokusatsu, because they share this trope of just the wimpy authority figure trope. That's the bad
kind
guy.
of an overpowered, foolish.
Yeah.
He's the epitome of that in this show.
He doesn't have a whole lot of power, but at the moment he's on top of the world, so he's going to let everyone know about it.
Yeah.
By acting like a complete jackass.
Pretty much.
Yes.
They all tend to do that.
As far for myself, I think these 2 episodes could have been condensed into one. Or honest to God, I do. There's filler, which I don't generally mind filler episodes, but there's filler and then there's bad filler. And
I was about to say, had it been a different type of filler, maybe if there had been a little bit more, I mean, I hate to say it, but what if they did like a little medical drama with the girl when she was poisoned? It wouldn't have done anything for the story, but it wouldn't have been Nero.
I mean, even
so it didn't really do a lot for the story anyway.
You could have really had just an interesting episode, one and done monster of the week kind of episode, and got out
running
of it.
interference while
because there's the connotation filler gets a really bad rap in shows in general.
Well, it's like the old joke: you don't go buy a steak plate for potatoes, but if your steak comes out with potatoes, you're gonna be unhappy.
Yeah, I mean it's the. I liken it very similar to the old Kevin Sullivan gag. If you have 2 steaks side by side and they're exactly the same, perfectly done, perfectly seasoned, they're identical in every way, except that one plate is just the steak, but the other plate comes out with a nice side salad and
are we all
some
hungry
mashed potatoes,
now? I mean,
a little bit, all that. Then that steak's gonna be better because it's got all that around it. But yeah, this is the filler that gives filler a bad name. It really is. So I did not care for this particular pair of episodes. And you had made the remark because this is the first one where we get a really good look at Brain. There it is.
I did not like that look whatsoever. And I know it's not any true.
Is it because his head looks kind of like a toilet bowl?
No, the gold just doesn't work for him.
Oh.
To be honest.
Well, the green didn't work for him either, so.
It worked better.
It worked better than the gold.
His head still looks like a toilet bowl. That was my always problem.
Well, I mean, I never really cared much.
I mean, your name's Brain. Why would you let it hang out to get punched?
There.
And then there goes
Nero.
Nero. So anyway, yeah, folks, it's I agree with you. Super Saiyan Brain just doesn't look.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't look quite kosher.
This isn't even his final form.
His final form's the 3 that goes floating at begging for mercy at the end.
So, final thoughts on this pair of episodes and what we're looking forward to going forward, Dave.
I think I've covered my thoughts on this episode, and what I'm looking for is not having anything like this episode again.
Okay, so no more Nira.
Or even the. I don't know, man. Just the words, it's just sloggy. You know what I mean? We make jokes about how kid-like the adventures are and the heroes and all that BS.
They're aimed at children.
But at least they're doing something.
Yeah.
I bet kids hated this.
I couldn't have liked this episode whatsoever because not much happened in the first half of our 2-parter, and that's the only problem I had. Even if I was a kid watching it, I'd be pissed off about it because nothing truly happened.
So what are you looking forward to going forward?
I don't know. I just wanted to see more of what Kamen Rider is about. the typical comedy, the typical action pack, more to the point. I understand these are two-parters that we've been going through, but even the first half had something kind of going for it.
Usually, yeah.
So that's why I just wanted them to kind of keep going, keep moving forward. I mean, as long as they're not these lengthy backstories anymore, we're okay.
I can tell you, because I have to put myself in the mindset of what I thought when I first watched it.
Yeah.
I want to see more of the iPad.
I'm afraid that the iPad's going to end up being the bad guy.
You know
What
what?
do you think?
That actually sounds about right.
Because he was all like...
Because he is pretty powerful.
Well, then the whole, wahaha, there's a force behind. What are you going to do when you have to face that?
Yeah. Where we're watching Kamen Riders whip the other guy's fairly decent, and then we got this really powerful iPad.
Do you remember when the iPad hit
yeah,
in the arm, and his
Hart
arm
in the
kind
arm,
of got
yeah.
all numb and funny?
Yeah, because the iPad was able to defend himself.
Which there, but we're not gonna.
Yeah.
So, I think we've got a good bit more to look forward to. This was episode 35, 36, so there's about another 10-ish episodes left. I think this is a 46-episode series.
Okay.
So, not too much more of Kamen Rider Drive, which brings me to something we need to ask you. We've asked you about this before on the show, and we're going to ask you again. We need to know what show to talk about next. We have come to a realization here on Denzicaster, and that is trying to cover the new stuff as it comes out is a futile gesture. We started Drive when it came out, and now Ghost, I think, is almost halfway through. So we're never going to make it.
So when did it come out?
We've been watching this, I think, we've been watching it for about a year on the show.
Sure, but when did it...
A year and a half ago.
Okay.
Is when it started. So we are...
we're here in the beginning of March?
For us, it is the beginning of March 2016. So...
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Here's what we need from you. We need you to tell us what show we should watch next. Now, here's the only thing that we ask. If it is a show that is legally available out there somewhere, DVD, Blu-ray, Crunchyroll, what have you, awesome, and we're going to take every opportunity we can to do that. If it's not, if it's a show that is out there fan-subbed by some fan-sub group and is accessible, we're not talking about a bunch of dead torrents. Yes, I know that most of Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger got fan-subbed, but nobody has seen it anywhere online for 20 years or whatever, so don't worry about that. We can't find it. Make sure it's something that we can actually find. But if it is, and that pretty much means any modern Sentai show, damn near any Kamen Rider show, good chunk of Ultraman, and a handful of oddball things like Garo, or I think the Takara Hero shows are out there too. Yep.
I vote Ronin Warriors.
Yeah, that's an anime, which we might do on a different podcast down the road, but I'm not promising nothing.
Oh.
So,
But it's animated...
Come on.
Tokusatsu.
Tokusatsu, by definition, is live action.
Oh. Well, I thought it was or Sentai, whatever.
You can get away with calling it that.
My mistake.
But
I mean, if we could touch upon Toei Animations, which is another part of their same company, but
anywho, folks.
Oh, come on!
It's about time to wrap this one up because they're about to go off the air, and
we talk about anime. It's like, oh, time to cut.
So yes, and see it at the screen.
Anyway.
Until next time, folks, we want you to tell us what you want us to talk about here on Denzicaster. So leave it in the comments below, share, like, subscribe, all that fancy stuff, and check out right after we get done talking where you can find us elsewhere online. So until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Chris.
And I'm reminding you to stay away from Brain's tentacles.
And we'll see you next time on Denzicaster. The more you know.